Welcome back to everyone. Patrick, how are we, man? How are you? You are the president of the Blockchain in Transport Alliance. We call it BiTA here at FreightWaves. Are you still down in Jacksonville?
I am down in Ponte Vedra Beach. Thank you so much for having me. Excited to be on the new show.
So before we hop into BiTA, how's your last year been, man? Unfortunately, I haven't seen you. I think I may have seen you once in the last year. It's been a struggle for most of us up here trying to get into the office and see everyone. I miss you, man. How you been?
I miss you guys too. I can't wait to get back up to Chattanooga. I'm getting really excited about F3. That is going to be an awesome event. It's going to potentially be the first time the BiTA community gets back together in person since the November 2019 event in Chicago, which was a big deal for our community. We debuted one of our member company, DLT Labs, debuted the blockchain based project for Walmart Canada's freight payment and audit system, which has made quite a splash in this space. And I'm looking forward to getting the community back together in person. I think I've had my share of Zoom.
Me as well. I've had my share of doing these over the air. I'd like to see you in person someday. And certainly that DLT announcement was a big thing. It's made waves throughout the industry. For those who don't know what BiTA is, let's go ahead and just start from the very high level. Explain what the Blockchain and Transport Alliance is.
Yeah, so BiTA was founded in August of 2017. So we're coming up on our fourth anniversary this summer. We've been working as a global community of companies, mostly based in the freight, logistics, supply chain, and ancillary spaces. So financial services, insurance, customs brokerage, and technology vendors, providing those platforms that really allow for commerce to flourish, particularly as we move towards these digitally enabled ecosystems. We're really looking to create very clean, open source data standards that can move between these different stakeholders that we talk about on all of these different FreightWave shows, and even the same kind of components that move through the Sonar platform around location information, shipment information, even rates information, and other types of data that needs to move between parties to allow transactions to occur smoothly. So that's what BIT is really all about. It's about creating efficiencies for trade through the better exchange of information.
Patrick, let's back up just one moment and explain it to me like I'm five. What are, data standards? What are the standards you guys are creating in BiTA?
Yeah, so across various industries since the advent of modern computer systems and even going back all the way to mainframe systems, um, stakeholders have looked for ways to standardize the data that needs to move between parties. And so, whether we're talking about EDI transactions, which still run global commerce for the most part, or as we talk about moving towards an API enabled system, these are the data elements that are actually we're trying to standardize so that there's no translation between parties. So when my name is put into a system as Patrick Duffy, it's standardized with a capital P and a lowercase a, so that it minimizes the back office processes, which unfortunately, particularly in the over-the-road trucking space, have just grown in scope over the years to create massive efficiency headaches.
Yeah, you're certainly right. We have a lot of, we've seen this just if you look at the unemployment data. You've seen a lot of jobs that have been cut from the carriers that haven't come back yet. It may take some time to recover on some of those jobs. Let's talk about an upcoming webinar, though. You've got a webinar coming up, I believe, this afternoon. Who's involved and what are you covering?
Yeah, so at 2 o'clock this afternoon, we've got a webinar. It's framed up as Standards Development 2.0. So we've been working as a community, doing a lot of work in the background, particularly over the past year when we haven't been able to get together, to modify or upgrade the organizational infrastructure, the policies and the technology stack that we actually leverage to bring together these global stakeholders to work on creating these standards. And that's something that I didn't really have a great understanding around until I actually got involved. Modern standards development, some people say it's broken. There are no shortage of incredible efforts going on, but there is meaningful and challenging siloization of these efforts based off of transport mode and industry. And One of the big hindrances is the way that standards are developed. It's one thing to catalyze an industry group around a common mission. It's another when you take on something as audacious as trying to create global technology agnostic and transport mode agnostic standards that really underlie commerce. And that's, kind of the goal of BiTA. And so our role, or, kind of our overarching mission is evolved a little bit since the beginning. And I think that moving forward, there's almost a better opportunity for BiTA to serve as an aggregator to help orchestrate all of these incredible efforts that are going on. I know across the FreightWaves platforms, we talk about the Digital Container Shipping Association, their work around standardizing data sets for containerized ocean trade. IATA in the air transport mode has just pushed out something called the One Record API, which is going to create massive efficiencies there. There's no shortage of efforts across rail, over the road trucking, and last mile to do similar efforts. The challenge is we really need a pool party of sorts. I swear, if we could get everybody together in Geneva with, the World Trade Organization as maybe the organizer, lock us in a conference room for 2 weeks and just slide pizza under the door, we could revolutionize the way trade happens.
I can imagine that in your future, certainly. Just pizza under the door, maybe a salad every once in a while. I wanted to ask you, because in the past we had spoken about some of the challenges that you had faced and that BiTA had faced was, you're working with these companies, and the people that are helping you build these standards, they are, in the IT departments, in the blockchain departments of these large shippers, of these large technology companies, and it's not always easy to get them to, share their time and share their resources to help develop these standards when they've got their own jobs to do at their own companies that are growing fast and developing blockchain stuff on their own. So I just wanted to ask, how has that been throughout COVID? Has it been more difficult to work remotely, or have people come together? I know that we had talked about, honestly, the interest in blockchain is sadly very heavily correlated with the price of Bitcoin. Have you seen a resurgence in interest over the past year, and how has it been working remotely?
So 2020 certainly dealt some challenging cards for everyone. Um, but for technology professionals, and particularly the technology professionals that are really exploring those developing and just over the horizon technologies, they are, strapped for bandwidth at the best of times. And when their enterprises needed to make a snap transformation towards work from home, uh, their skill sets were, stretched to the limit. So there was certainly a real challenge in getting the right people to the table consistently last year. That really started to level out late summer last year, and we've really gotten the talent back into our conversations and our work groups and technical committees over the past 6 months. So I'm excited to see a normalization in the ability for them to start kind of scratching that research and development side of why they want to be involved in BiTA. Um, Speaking towards crypto assets broadly, you're right. There is no shortage of interest in DLT technology broadly when these asset prices are just going ballistic. But I think there is a narrative that is consistently not double clicked on by most people around the underlying technology. And that's really what is going to allow for these next generation digital ecosystems to thrive. The data elements are a component of it, but the not sexy, the plumbing, the infrastructure layer of these ecosystems is really what is going to provide the transformation in the business models and the way that data can be exchanged and new value propositions can evolve. And so, yeah, there's no shortage of inbound and organic interest in getting involved, and that's always correlated to strong asset prices. But broadly, the technology has evolved very quickly over the past 4 years, and I'm really excited about where we're moving towards.
All right, Patrick, I have to wrap us up, unfortunately. You got about 30 seconds. Can you give us just a teaser, what to look out for over the next few months from BiTA?
Yeah, so excitingly, next month we're launching our newest technical committee, which is going to move BiTA into a completely new chapter. It's the Implementation Technical Committee. It's going to be chaired by Professor Daniel Conway, who is at the University of Arkansas's Blockchain Center of Excellence. And we're working with some of the top technology teams across over-the-road trucking, rail, and freight forwarding to really drive this effort forward as we engage with the technology vendor community to solve for these implementations that I think are really going to address the interoperability challenge that a lot of people have been hesitant to get involved in this space because of.
All right, Patrick, very exciting stuff. I'm very much looking forward to watching you over the next few months and very excited to see you at F3 in November.
Thanks, Andrew, for having me.